The first war of 2026 has officially begun. Trump has attacked Venezuela.
For me, Nicolas Maduro had his chance.
Trump has crossed the border into Venezuela and captured President Maduro. And for once, the reason the reason for this is not all that complicated.
Venezuela has the largest oil reserves in the world.
Look at this image. The world's largest oil reserves are not in Saudi Arabia, nor are they in Russia. It is Venezuela, which happens to be America's neighbor. And if a neighbor possesses such a vast amount of oil, then Trump won't do a single thing about it? How can this be? Here, Trump officially states the reason as drugs, but the drug problem is in Mexico and Colombia as well. So then why attack only Venezuela? I have a theory that 2026 will be the most action-packed year of all our lives. The attack that happened on Venezuela, this is just the beginning. This year, coups and wars will occur in various countries at different times. America has similarly conducted regime change operations in its neighborhood. After American democracy arrives, a country supposedly becomes like heaven. You can see examples of this in these very countries. Today, we will look at what lessons India needs to take from the Venezuela crisis. Let's understand this thoroughly in today's video.
If you look at America, America has the world's largest oil reserves. But America's largest oil reserves are in Venezuela. Even after the Venezuela crisis, America benefited the most. Even after the Venezuela crisis, America suffered the most.
Today, Trump attacked Venezuela. Tomorrow, who knows where he'll strike. All of this shows that the world respects nothing but power. Chapter 1. What is happening?
Nicolas Maduro, Nicolas Maduro, Nicolas Maduro, Nicolas Maduro, Nicolas Maduro.
This is Nicolas Maduro, the controversial president of Venezuela, who has been targeted by Trump today. But the question is, how exactly did we arrive at this point? It's quite important to fully understand the complete timeline of this entire sequence of events. Let's take a moment to rewind a little bit. I came across a rather intriguing tweet from a very interesting individual in America, which dates back 2 years. It reads, "I am coming for you, Maduro," followed by a rocket emoji and a bomb emoji. I'm talking about Elon Musk, who had mentioned the possibility of an airstrike 2 years ago. This means that what is happening in Venezuela is absolutely not random at all. It has been planned for a very extended period of time. On September 2nd, the United States began to detect several boats in the ocean. The US government stated that these vessels were transporting illegal drugs into American territory. And without issuing any prior warning, the United States proceeded to destroy these boats. One after another, these boats were subjected to continuous attacks. On September 15th, Trump himself took to his social media to announce that America had successfully killed 3 terrorists. From that day until October 24th, more such airstrikes continued and the boats showed absolutely no sign of stopping. On October 24th, the world's largest warship, the USS Gerald Ford, made its presence known in this region. This was a clear indication that major developments were imminent in Venezuela. By December 31st, more than 30 boats had already been destroyed. More than 110 individuals were eliminated by the United States. And finally, on January 3rd, 150 US aircraft, as part of Operation Absolute Resolve, struck multiple targets in Caracas. Explosions occurred throughout the capital city. Delta forces then invaded Maduro's palace, and the United States successfully captured Maduro. America considers this a war on drugs. America believes that Maduro was responsible for sending drugs to the United States. And none of us needs to be some geopolitical expert to understand if the actual reason is drugs or oil. Drugs are just an excuse. The real reason is to steal oil. So these are the facts that cover all the bases. But in the last few days, I started watching some interesting videos showing that the people of Venezuela are celebrating. I mean, I couldn't quite digest the fact that American troops literally invaded another country, bombed it, and then the local people are celebrating. Please take a moment to look at this old lady. Her tears of joy are flowing freely and they show no sign of stopping. Chapter 2. Why is Venezuela celebrating?
Venezuela, let me tell you something. This is the happiest day of my life. They have always intimidated us, humiliated us. Today, we finally recover hope. This is the best thing that could happen to Venezuela. This is what all Venezuelans want.
Today, the people of Venezuela are celebrating because Venezuela's situation under Maduro's government had become very dire. In Venezuela, we observe a paradox. Usually, people believe that if a country has oil, then with that oil wealth, the nation and its people can become very rich. Look at Saudi Arabia, look at the UAE or any other Gulf nation. But Venezuela also holds the world's largest oil reserves and the world's highest inflation. At one time, Venezuela had over 1,000,000% inflation. Imagine 1,000,000%. When inflation is just 8 or 10%, we feel that, oh, prices are rising too much. Every year, prices of things are increasing, so 1,000,000% inflation is truly unimaginable. Venezuela's economy is perhaps one of the most interesting economies globally, and I feel a dedicated video should definitely be made for it. If you wish to watch a dedicated video about this, then please spam economy in the comments section below. If this video receives 2,000 comments, then we will definitely produce this video. The actual impact of hyperinflation is something we can't even imagine. Imagine that you are working for the entire month. You are planning all of your expenses. But what exactly happens when your salary finally arrives in your hands? That milk packet you used to get for just 50 rupees at the beginning of the month, by the time that month ends, it becomes 200 or even 300 rupees. So how is anyone supposed to plan their household expenses then? And this same situation isn't just for milk, but for every single basic necessity. As a direct result, no shopkeeper even wants to sell their goods. People start hoarding items, which only increases the scarcity, because if a shopkeeper happens to have something in stock, they first prioritize fulfilling their own family's needs, and only then will they consider selling it. He has no interest in earning money because money itself holds no value. After standing in line for 30 hours, people realize there's nothing ready to be sold. People can't even keep money in banks because the interest is worthless. There's no point in saving or investing because even with 15% returns, inflation will still be higher. There was also news that many people were taking their salaries, not entirely in cash, but a combination of cash and eggs. Just look at this. This man is heading home, having collected a portion of his salary in eggs. In other words, the Venezuelan bolivar's value had become even lower than that of eggs. It's essential to grasp this context because it's precisely why the Venezuelan people were so deeply frustrated. In 2024, elections were held in Venezuela and everyone thought people would vote Maduro out, but these elections turned out to be rigged. The vote counting was stopped at 80% and Maduro was declared the winner with 51%. However, when the opposition conducted their own independent count, they found that their candidate Edmundo Gonzalez had secured victory with 67% of the votes. Since 2013, when Nicolas Maduro first assumed power, a staggering 8 million citizens have fled the country. That means 1/4 of the nation's entire population has already departed. By hearing these numbers, you must have gotten an idea of how dire the situation was. So when Maduro was captured, the public's reactions were expressed as follows.
By his miracle, which is truly magnificent and grand,
these people truly believe that things will be better after American intervention. On the surface, this works in Trump's favor because the media will repeatedly play this video and then people's perception will be formed that Maduro was a corrupt dictator and America liberated Venezuela from this dictatorship. Since 2020, Maduro has been accused of drug terrorism and American courts have found him guilty. There was a $25 million bounty on Maduro's head, which President Trump then doubled to $50 million. And a country like Venezuela certainly cannot fight America all by itself. So this was a pretty easy victory for Trump. Chapter 3, America's Big Message. The White House directly posted this image. Fafo, meaning found round and find out. This message is not exclusively for the context of Venezuela. This message is also intended for America's other rivals. It's also a message for China, and this message is for Iran, and it's also for Russia. The conflict that is currently unfolding between Venezuela and America, it is not merely a conflict between just two nations. When a country finds itself in a weakened state, this power vacuum is keenly observed by many diverse parties who then strive to fill that void and capitalize on the opportunity, and precisely this scenario is unfolding in the case of Venezuela. Let's not even discuss today's situation. Even during Trump's initial term, he had already imposed a significant number of sanctions on Venezuela. In direct response to these measures, Venezuela had, from that point onward, begun actively seeking out diverse global partners, and China emerged as one of the key players among them. China subsequently provided Venezuela with billions of dollars in loans, entered into crucial oil-backed deals, and extensively funded various infrastructure projects. China's underlying logic is quite simple. It's all about securing oil and establishing long-term influence. This was far less about any specific ideology and much more of a crucial economic and strategic investment. And then, of course, we must also consider Russia. For Russia, Venezuela isn't merely an oil or economic issue. It's a significant geopolitical signal. Establishing a new ally right in the US's backyard, engaging in arms deals, demonstrating military cooperation, this is Russia's strategic way of showing America that if the United States can exert pressure on Russia, then Russia in turn can also exert pressure on the United States. And then, of course, there's Iran. Iran and Venezuela are both facing sanctions from the United States. This naturally creates a strong alignment between the two nations. They both share a common adversary. This is precisely why they have become allies. China, Russia, and Iran, these three nations for their own distinct reasons have become adversaries of the United States, and they cannot directly confront America. So a proxy country has been chosen, and that is Venezuela. For the past few years, Venezuela had transformed into less of a sovereign nation and more of a geopolitical battleground, where various countries were actively engaged in their power plays. If you were to watch only this particular segment of the video, then you would certainly get the impression that Maduro was a dictator and that the United States had overthrown him, meaning America had come to Venezuela's rescue. However, what unfolds after this very moment will truly clarify America's genuine intentions. Whether they are good or evil, chapter for what happens next. Trump has captured Maduro, but this is merely the beginning. Now the crucial question is what exactly happens next in Venezuela? There are three possible scenarios. Number 1, a full US military occupation. Trump himself declared, "Akawai nyate going to run the country. So he intends to control Venezuela, and until a proper transition is fully established, he will not relinquish his hold on Venezuela. This implies, at the very least, until Venezuela's oil reserves are completely depleted, they are certainly not going to depart. And if this is indeed true, then America will do here exactly what they did in Afghanistan." And you know how it ended for the people of Afghanistan. Wherever America deploys its boots on the ground, that nation never improves. It invariably deteriorates. This is the very same story for many other interventions across the world. Iraq, Libya, Syria, Yemen. How many countries share this exact same fate? For the local people, the benefit was practically negligible. The only real advantage has always been America's. Number 2, a democratic transition. Edmundo Gonzalez actually won the election. That's what the international media reports. So if the government is handed over to him, perhaps this could be a democratic transition. On paper, this decision appears to be the correct one, but they don't have military backing. The military has been funded by Maduro for many years because a single individual cannot rig an entire election. It requires the full support of the entire system, and the individuals who operate this corrupt system are still present in Venezuela, who will not permit the new government to effectively govern. This means that if this new so-called democratic government is to survive, it will need the backing of the American military, which means it will essentially become nothing more than a puppet state. So where to us team. Option 3, the conflict continues to rage on. Vice President Delcy Rodriguez has already officially assumed the presidency. However, Defense Minister Vladimir Lopez and Interior Minister Diosdado Cabello still retain their positions of power. Maduro may be gone, but key elements of his former regime still remain within Venezuela. It's possible these individuals might attempt to fight back against American troops, but their resistance is unlikely to endure for any significant period.